Hello, welcome to day 12, which is also week 3, day 4 of I Desire Mercy, Not Sacrifice by me. Today is a good day, I think. It's one of those exciting aha moments for me when I first saw this. So let's get in. Today is called New Wine. See, it's already good. Okay, so we start with a context. When you want to know something and what it's all about, you look at the context, right? So taking our verse, which is Matthew 9:13, the I desire mercy, not sacrifice verse, when he's talking to the Pharisees, we'll start at verse 10 and go around it. And I know that's just a little bit of context, but for our purposes with the new wine today, that works. While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked the disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" And on hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy that need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." When John's disciples came and asked him, "How is it that the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast?" And Jesus answered, "How can the guests of the bridegroom mourn while he's with them? The time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, then they will fast. But no one sews a new patch of unshrunk cloth onto an old garment, for the patch will pull away from the garment, making the tear worse. Neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, and wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved." So the I desire mercy, not sacrifice kind of is like, what are you doing in the middle of all of that? And as I was looking at the context, I was like, yeah, whatever. But the aha moment came to me when I was actually doing a different study, and that was on the Greek word pleroma, if that's the right way to say it. So I was doing this pleroma word study, in the Strong's, and it was mostly translated to fullness, like in all the places. It was pleroma, means fullness, means fullness, means fullness. And then one little thing, it said it means patch. And I was like, what you talking about, Willis? Has fullness patch? And I thought for a little bit, okay, well, I guess I could see that. But the time that it was translated as patch is in our verse, our Matthew 9:13. So that was like, ooh, there's something there, because I was already writing the study. So I was like, ooh, there's something I gotta look at. I'm still froggy today. I don't know why, but it just adds to my it's the only time that I can sing that I actually sound like somebody, because my voice is like nothing to write home about. But when I'm sick, and I also can do like a good, well, never mind, all of that's, it's neither here nor there. It has nothing to do with the study. Moving on. So I was like, okay, a patch. A patch can fill a hole. That can make something completely full. I guess I can understand how the fullness thing works. But I was feeling in my spirit there was something more that God wanted to say about this relating to our verse. So good. So before I move into that connection, I like to make sure that we understand that when that very last verse, so that's I think verse 17, when it says, no, they pour new wine into new wineskins and both are preserved. There's two news right there, new wine, new wineskins. And that I needed to look up too, because that's the way I do. So the first new is like new wine, brand new. But the second new is really translated more renewed. So then I tell you about the process of renewal. New or renewed wineskins have been soaked in water and rubbed with oil and all of that to make them moldable, because they get old wineskins, made of leather stuff, and they get cracky and old, just like the shields. They used to oil those puppies too. Okay, so it should be saying, just like the above verse that talks about the pre-shrunk cloth, that is a getting the cloth ready. You don't put on a brand new cloth, you pre-shrink it and then put it on. This is saying you don't do, you don't put it in old wineskins, you renew the wineskins to make it compatible to be able to hold the wine. Okay, flipping the page. So the whole chapter, he's saying, here's the rules, never mind them, And we as Christians understand that Jesus is the only one who could fulfill the law and therefore do away with the covenant system. He's not doing away with it with the law by fulfilling it. I should just be reading this because my words are getting jumbled. Okay. Well, let's move on anyway. Jesus shows us now that we can live free from all these human-made rules and traditions, and even the God-made ones from the Old Testament, because he is here to fulfill them. I'm going to read what he says about that. Matthew 5, 17 through 22. Maybe I won't read the whole thing. I might just read the beginning, but it's all in here. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them, which also translates perform them. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter or the single stroke of a pen, not any jot or tittle, as the King James says, by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. So, therefore, anyone who sets aside one of these least of the commandments and teaches others accordingly will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. It goes on. I don't think I need to read all of that. So by the time chapter 9 has rolled around, because that was in Matthew 5, but by the time chapter 9 has rolled around, Jesus has already said he's here to perform the law, not obey it the way that the Pharisees think. I am the bridegroom, he says. Matthew 9:15, and now that I'm here, you're living in a time of celebration. You don't fast during celebration. And then Matthew 12, he says, he repeats our same thing. Something greater than the temple is here, and if you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. And the reason he's Lord of the Sabbath is because he is God. God created the Sabbath. Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. Part of the good news in his birth, death, and resurrection is that the sacrificial system is over. He was the Passover lamb. His performing the law took away our obligation to make those same sacrifices year after year, like we mentioned way back with Hebrews 10. So in the Old Testament, God gave very specific rules about sacrifices, and the priests, had to do it to the letter, just like he says. Now here, he's saying, you've heard it said, I require sacrifices, but I say to you, I require mercy instead. This is like, oh, we're getting someplace, right? Mercy is the new wine. Mercy is the patch that fulfills. Mercy is the new covenant. This new wine of mercy that Jesus offers to everyone. It's freedom to live in him as your bridegroom, feasting in his presence, not worrying about the traditions of man, but only concerning yourself with his agenda. It's the leaning on him coming out of the desert that we talked about in Song of Solomon, chapter 8. Thinking only of his love for you, his covenant love, his loyal covenant love, the hesed that we talked about yesterday, this mercy. So to me, that was kind of awesome to say that's why he puts this whole new wineskin thing in with this mercy, is he's literally saying the new wine is mercy. I know that you can say the new wine is a lot of stuff. People are always talking about new wine, the new wine, different teaching, this, that, and the other. But really, it's coming against the Pharisaical, law-bound stuff. And this new wine is freedom. And, shouted from the rooftops, freedom! So, then I have some questions. Is there any old wine that you need to throw out? And then is there some reconditioning or renewing that you need to do on your wineskin to get it ready to hold this new wine of mercy, this new covenant of loyal love with Jesus. And then I have a little write a love note of renewal to your bridegroom. I really like to write, I like to write love notes to God. They usually end up being prayers. I'm like, I love you, la 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 la, please, la 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 la. Like, oh yeah, I was supposed to just be gushing, not, and now I need. But that's how they end up. I don't know if he minds, but whatever. So, like I said, tonight starts Purim. I said that yesterday, not today. And getting ready and being excited about that. I get to teach the kids tonight at church. Teaching them, actually, part of it is on mercy. So I'm kind of like, hey, it's my jam. I get to teach them on some of the gifts of the Spirit. And I also plan on throwing a little bit of Purim in there because that's what's happening. You can't, like, if it was, Passover or Resurrection Sunday, let's say, that's one more. They don't necessarily even teach Passover so much in a lot of churches, but Resurrection Sunday we do. I'd be like saying, we have this teaching for today, but never mind about resurrection. So tonight, even though the lesson is not on Purim, I will be talking about Purim, at least a little bit. So if your kids are coming, woohoo, they're going to have some fun, I think. Bye.